Okay, welcome back once again. The title of this video is Solicit Feedback, and really this is good advice for any profession, and you have to be courageous to solicit feedback, but that's what makes you better. And definitely many, if not most teachers might recoil at the thought of asking others to analyze their teaching. It can definitely make us feel vulnerable, under a microscope, or overexposed. But in reality, asking for feedback, it shows your strength and shows your self-confidence as an instructor. And also it very quickly identifies any glaring gaps or common missteps that you can swiftly correct and move into a new level of teaching very quickly. Also, long-term, getting personal feedback helps you to evolve and grow as a teacher in general and keeps you from falling into ruts and unproductive patterns. And what we're talking about also includes soliciting feedback from students. So colleagues and students are able to provide very, very useful feedback. So many schools have feedback systems already set up where they have evaluations by administrators, fellow teachers, or your students. If you receive regular feedback in these ways, take full advantage of them and be thankful for any perspectives that you receive. That said, especially with student comments, you really have to be like an ice skater in the Olympics, and they throw out the highest and the lowest scores, because there'll usually be one or two students out of a few hundred that say you're terrible for whatever reason, and there will usually be a few who think you could do no wrong. But the responses in the middle, especially the comments that you see repeatedly, are the ones to really pay attention to. Now, if this evaluation infrastructure is not set up at your school, it would be extremely helpful and frankly impressive to your administrators, I might add, if you took matters into your own hands. So how can you solicit feedback? Number one is just to request that another teacher sits in on 15 minutes of your class to give you comments. What are you doing well? Where can you grow? Are there any suggestions, tricks, or techniques that could help you? That simple 15-minute review can help so much. Second, ask if you can sit in on another teacher's class, maybe one or two other teachers' classes, in order to get new ideas or a fresh perspective. Even for experienced teachers, this can be so helpful and beneficial. I can't emphasize that enough. We get into our own world and we're into our system and we're focused on it and we're, let's say, doing a good job, and it's hard to pull away and find time because often, you're teaching when they're teaching, so how are you going to see them? But there are times when you have a break and you can see another teacher teach. And when you do that, write down any useful techniques or habits that this teacher might have that you can incorporate. So this is to make you better, but it's also to save you time and energy because it gives you new ideas. And last, solicit feedback from your own students. And the way to do that, there are many ways. I have friends who do it, I do it, is to make a simple handout with some questions on it and a lot of space to write. So questions like, what do they like and dislike about your class? Do they think that the classroom rules are fair? If not, how would they change them? What's something they like about another teacher that they have? That can really be a good question. Do they have any suggestions for how to make the class more effective for them? And also, do they have any ideas for creative projects? Or could they even compose and offer one sample test question for the upcoming test? It's a great way to get them to review, actually. And this goes a long way in making students feel acknowledged, included, and empowered, and it helps you as well. So those are just two basic general ways to solicit feedback, and it's a very simple idea. And it's like homeopathy. A tiny dose goes a long way of this feedback. Even if you do it once every couple years, it's amazingly effective. And of course, more often is better. So let's review very quickly in our study guide. What are the ways that you already solicit feedback? What have you learned from that feedback? What changes have you made to your teaching, if any, because of that feedback? And then two, what new ways are you willing to try to generate more helpful feedback from your students or your peers? When can you make this happen? So perhaps some of the ideas in this video When you get the feedback, carefully read through it with an open mind and try to mine it for actionable items and things that you can improve on. Implement a few of the changes, and after you've gone through it and thought about it, because you can't implement everything. Implement a change or two that you can actually incorporate. And then, as we say, please share it with your online support community, because that becomes a treasure trove of everyone's experiences, and we're not all reinventing the wheel. Okay, great. That's the end of this video. Thanks for joining me.